All right. So welcome again. If you're still here and you're still joining, hop on in. Again, we're going to kind of get cracking because we got 84 people already here, 85, ready to go. John, you're going to be the person who kind of kicks us off here. And like I said, the link is in the chat. Please feel free to join. Let's do this. So we're doing a Quizizz lesson. We figure that's the best way to show Quizizz is really to use a Quizizz lesson. So what that means is I'm sharing my screen. So you're going to see everything kind of I see from the teacher end, but also you're going to experience this kind of from our participant or what would be a student end as well on your screen. So it's interactive and all that kind of really wonderful stuff. So here's the agenda for today. We don't have a lot of time, but we're going to do our best to squeeze in a lot of really cool things into this webinar. So first I'll introduce myself, and then after we kind of go through this, I'm going to bring on a amazing person that I've had the privilege of talking to and working with for a little while now. She is a tech coach from the Houston area to kind of talk about her experience and her journey with STAAR and kind of what she's learned. And hopefully you all can learn a little bit from her. And then we're going to turn it over to April, who's going to really kind of show you a deep dive of some of the actual question types and how closely they align with STAAR. And then throughout the entire time, we'll of course give you guys opportunities to participate, and at the very end, ask any questions and share out and that sort of thing, and figure out any next steps. So I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Kyle Nemus. I was a teacher and tech coach for 16 years, and I am new-ish to Quizizz in the sense I've been here for less than a year. I'm the head of community, and my entire job here is just to really spread the love of Quizizz. So things like this are just super fun for me to be part of, and I'm really excited to be here. We'll call it, I don't want to call it a disclaimer, but so the whole main point of this is really to show you how Quizizz can align with STAAR and how we can really support you. And this is part of our school series. And so the focus here is going to be on the school plan and those kind of premium features of what you can really get out of the school plan. So it means that means if you're here and you kind of have no interest in that, and you're really just interested in kind of free resources, you're obviously welcome to hang out and come along for the ride. But we've also linked this right here, which has a lot of really, really great resources. If this is kind of all you're interested in, it's just kind of like what you can do in the Quizizz free model, which again, is a really wonderful place too. But yeah, I think you're going to see from the paid stuff and the paid school plans we're going to show you, there's a lot of really, really great things you can do in general, but especially for STAAR. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I'll ask you a couple questions. Assuming you're from Texas, I guess I don't want to make that assumption, but assuming you're from Texas, the first question is, we'd love to, in general, to see where people are at. So pop it on there. We got Dallas, lots of Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. A lot of Houston people. Evelyn, your crew is here. It looks like your fan crew. All right, so we got lots of people from Houston, Dallas, El Paso. Cool. And again, if you're not from Texas, by all means, pop it on here, but it looks like we're pretty heavy in the Texas, which is to be expected. Cool. And what you're doing right now is a Quizizz open-ended response question, which of course we're using right now to figure out where you're from in Texas, but you could use this for all sorts of different reasons that have to do with content in your classroom. Nice. All right, I'm going to end this in just a couple seconds. This is great. Now, to me, this is my most important question. I think for April probably as well. And it's the nice way of us saying, like, why are you here? In the nicest way possible, is that, like, I know I've attended webinars before, and some people are here to learn about Quizizz. Are you here to learn about STAAR? Are you here just because you love Evelyn and just want to hear any chance you have to talk? It's really good for us to know exactly why you're here. We could assume you're here for STAAR. This is good. So April, you checking this out? A lot of the new stuff, some tips, good resources, helpful info. And this is great too, because in case we don't cover some of the stuff today, which is just going to inevitably happen, we know on the follow-up what we have to make sure that we send you all in case we don't always get to everything. Quizizz University, nice. All right, so by no surprise here, April, we're seeing lots of people who are here for STAAR, which again is kind of the main goal, but other stuff too.
Absolutely. This is great to see.
Beautiful. All right, thanks. And then we have one last question. This is more of our kind of social emotional check-in of the day that I think we could all benefit from. How are you feeling right now about the STAAR test? If we had to pick one of these, are you in this let's do this? Are you more in this kind of panic mode, all good, feeling busy? And this was just something else. Maybe there's another emotion you're feeling that I couldn't capture here. I don't want to see yet, April. I kind of want to let the numbers get up here so then we can actually like look it all together. What is
For
your
sure,
guess?
for sure.
Guess, April? What do you think is going to be the top one?
Well, as a former teacher, I'm kind of a mix between let's do this and breathing into the paper bag, just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on where you are that day, right? I feel like you start off here and then you end up, here, let's do this and, kind of the journey, but let's see where people are at today. General, we got the busy, and that's teacher life in general, right? And then otherwise a nice kind of mix of everything else. And so again, you're experiencing right now is a poll question, which of course we're polling you, but it's wonderful for students for social emotional learning or any other reason you might poll your students. All right, so busy. So they're basically saying, Kyle, stop talking, we're busy. Let's do this thing. All right, so let's do it then. And get on with it, Kyle. Cool, all right. We're busy, we got things to do. So then we're gonna get now to I'm gonna call her our main event. No offense, April, but I'm gonna call everyone our main event here.
None taken, Kyle.
So like I said earlier in our kind of agenda here, so we were lucky enough to have someone else partner with us. We always think it's way better for you all. We can sit here and tell you why Quizizz is wonderful and how great we are with STAAR. And of course, we really believe that. But when Evelyn and I were talking, what I love about what the message she's about to, hopefully share with you is that she's not this like Quizizz like fanatic. She is a person who seems to be putting all her energy into helping students and helping teachers. And she's just happened to find that Quizizz has really kind of helped her out along the way. So I'm going to let her come on board. I'll ask her a couple questions, let her share her journey with you before we kind of turn it over to April. So without further introduction, I'd like to introduce you to Evelyn Hart from the Houston area. Evelyn, welcome to our webinar today.
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. Can you just tell everyone here again, like where you're from, what you're doing, what you did maybe before you were coaching, just a little bit of quick background, and then we'll get into the STAAR stuff.
So my name is Evelyn Hart. I actually am a campus instructional technologist at Wharton Dual Language Academy, which is a kindergarten through 8th grade campus. I've been in education since 2002, so 21 years. I started off in high school, worked my way to middle school, and then I went into leadership. And so this technology thing is quite new to me. This is my first year being an instructional technologist. And so, yeah, I'm STAAR 2.0 was definitely something that teachers wanted support with in my role this year.
Yeah, and so I kind of came as the naive person from New Jersey, and I was like, okay, I've heard about STAAR, but like Evelyn, like really kind of give me the full scoop on the STAAR. And so you filled me in a lot. And of course, everyone who's here already kind of knows this. But it sounds like obviously it's something that is important and something that you need to really work hard to support your teachers and your students. And so if I can kind of start you off here, Evelyn, I know when we spoke, you said there was like a kind of a pre-test in the beginning that students took and they struggled. And you were talking a little bit about maybe the technology was the piece or the content. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Right. So my campus is actually an A-rated campus. And so that's a good thing. And so when we had the students take the practice exam that TEA, which is the state, was issuing the students, we definitely were expecting like some great scores. And what we found was what hindered or challenged the students was actually the use of the technology and the new question types and knowing where to go in the platform to get to the things that they needed to get to. So it wasn't necessarily the knowledge that the students were lacking. It was, in my opinion, the technology that was the problem. And so with lack of practice with the technology, definitely it made things quite difficult for my campus, and I'm sure across the state for many students as well.
And so then you have this new challenge, right? You have all these students who have these new question types and they don't know how to use them. And it sounded like then you kind of went on this really cool journey of trying to solve this problem for your teachers and your students. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about like what you tried, what worked, what didn't work? Again, any tools, that sort of thing.
Right. So I work for awesome department, the AIT department in Houston ISD. So they already had like supported us fully with what to expect and like some tools that were going to help us out, like a stepping point to be able to branch out on. So they had already done the legwork and like research what the test was going to look like, what kind of question types and what platforms we could use to support our teachers and our students. And so it was a matter of tweaking and actually seeing what the need was for our specific campuses. So like I said, my campus is an A campus. And so when we first mentioned STAAR and STAAR being a digital online exam, teachers were kind of like, you know, our kids do well, it's okay. And so when we started actually introducing the question types, then you could see that there was a little bit of, I wouldn't say concern, but kind of like, oh, wait. And so pretty much every tech tool platform that could be utilized to provide practice for the students, we introduced in professional learning PLCs, and we found that it was a lot of tools. And so eventually by October on my campus, because we started a little bit early, because we definitely saw that that's what the teachers wanted and were requesting, the STAAR technology support. We found that we narrowed it down to a few tech tools. And then I, as a campus instructional technologist, actually created templates. And Quizizz was one of the platforms that I created a lot of templates for the 3rd through 8th grade teachers in every subject that was tested. And I did a PLC on how to use Quizizz. And at the time, we didn't have all the question types that we have now. And so I did use the practice questions that TEA provides to us. And so I showed the teachers how to actually copy it and then go and tweak it to what their need was for their actual students, and then implement it and how to use it or how to assign it, whether it was as an assessment or if it was as a live thing, or if it was them assigning it as an assignment to the students. And of course, people pick up things at different times. And we found that some teams on our campus were really doing exceptionally well with implementing and making it their own. And then we had some teams that were struggling a little bit. So we went in and did some co-teaching with these teachers using Quizizz. And so when Quizizz started adding more question types that aligned with actual STAAR 2.0, it was a constant reminder to the teachers oh, there's this type of question now, and there's this type of question. And so it almost worked out for the best, because we started off with a certain amount of questions, and now we've added more question types. And so it's kind of allowing the kids to practice with the question types without overwhelming them and not overwhelming the teacher as well. So it kind of worked out really well on the timeline of things. So I was in a PLC this morning, and the 3rd grade team on my campus was actually saying hey, we use Quizizz again, and we use the new question types, and the kids really liked it. And, they had a lot of practice, and they want to know when we're going to do it again. And so we are having, I know across the state, we're having interim testing, STAAR interim testing, which is another practice exam. So a lot of the teachers are saying, can you help us create some more question banks for Quizizz, because we want to make sure that the kids practice again before these actual practice exams. So that's pretty much,
So can I just kind of pick out some of my favorite parts from that I think are worth kind of highlighting? So I want to make sure everyone in the audience kind of hears this too, is that so you created, these question types, and you can, in these banks for your teachers. And what was really great is, if I'm hearing you right, you said you kind of shared them with the teachers, and what's on Quizizz, they have the option to use them for a real test if they want to, or for a live game if they want to, or asynchronous kind of homework. They have the ability to kind of take the same questions, the same practice, only kind of really make it fit their own classroom, which I think
correct.
is
And so,
yeah,
so I walked into one teacher's classroom, and they love the live version, and it seems like they're always doing the live version. It's very competitive. There's a lot of jumping around and screaming and shouting and excitement. And then I've walked in and seen like students doing the assigned version, where it's very quiet, and there's about 10 to 15 questions, and you can see them concentrating with the questions. And now the teachers are asking for more guidance on creating the longer assessment, so that they have practice with the endurance that is going to be required of the actual STAAR exam.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know, without getting to whole my whole journey, but when I was a tech coach, when I always did trainings on Quizizz, I always said, I feel like there's like a dial you can put on, like depending on whatever your needs are that day, right? If you want it to be really, really fun and have it engaging with the kids, there's like jumping and screaming, you can do that. Or if you want it to be really serious and kind of like down to business and practice for STAAR, you can do that with just hitting a couple toggles, right? You don't need to necessarily read everything. So that's cool that people are using it that way. And so I'm going to just kind of recap one last thing here before I turn it over to April to kind of show some of these question types. So if I'm hearing you right, you said that you kind of originally talked to your teachers and had like this document, right? We had like, this tech tool has hotspot, and this tech tool has like inline choice, and this tech tool has graph. And so like you were doing your best to really help the teachers know where to go. But little by little, I think I remember you saying that like now it's kind of Quizizz seems to be, for the most part, your one-stop shop kind of for all the main question types you need. Is that accurate?
Correct. So yeah, like it was like, this is how you do this thing. This is how you do this thing. And several teachers were coming up to me and saying, this is a lot. This is overwhelming. I can't see myself creating something here and then the next day creating something in this. It's just time consuming. And like, unless somebody's going to do this for us, like we just don't see it happening. And so I started being more focused on which tech tools I began to use for PLC. And so the teachers kind of were like, oh, this one has more of the question types. So, this would be more bang for our buck. And so I was kind of like, yeah, you're right about that. And so we tended to move over on our campus towards Quizizz more. And then one teacher just told me yesterday, she told me the kids actually really, really like Quizizz, and they like, they get really excited when I announce that we're going to have one. So that teacher was saying that that's the platform that she uses all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, now it is like a one-stop shop for everything. And so even the teachers are getting the emails and seeing the new question types. And so they're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and tweak it and add this like question type to my practice exit tickets.
Cool. Well, Evelyn, I just want to say thank you again for sharing. We can be here probably for a long time talking about lots of things. And I had all these notes that I even had about you, like you working with your own kids, and you make quizzes for your own kids and all sorts of things.
Do.
I know. But like I said, people are busy, so I want to respect their time. So yeah, Evelyn, I will just say thank you for kind of coming out here and sharing your journey and just kind of your challenges with helping out everyone, because it is a challenge, and hopefully we can provide a little bit of relief and a little bit of enjoyment for your teachers and your students. So I'm going to say thank you, and then I want to give everyone out there a chance to also kind of say thank you to Evelyn. So if you don't mind, people listening, if you just send her any kind of positive vibes you want, because she's amazing and she got up here, and it's not easy always talking in front of people. So there you go, Evelyn. We'll make sure you get all of this positive.
Look at all the love.
Thank you all for sharing the love.
Awesome. Thank you, Evelyn. Wow.
Yeah. Evelyn, that was great. It's always wonderful talking to you. And so what we're going to do in a moment, I'll tell you what, April, maybe I'll let you introduce yourself now while people are kind of sending Evelyn that love. So I'm going to turn it over to April, who's going to give you a chance to see, not even all of them, but just a handful of, I'm going to kind of call our new and our favorite question types to have to do the STAAR. So April, while people are still kind of finishing up their positive vibes, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hey, everybody. I am April. I am with the school and districts team here at Quizizz. I work along with my colleagues, Laura and Robin. If you've been in touch with us, you may have talked to one of the three of us, but we work Texas together. So happy to be with you guys today. I'm a former teacher. I was also an assessment and accountability coordinator in the district that I worked for. And I have not been gone quite long enough from the classroom to have forgotten just the gravity of getting ready for something like state testing. I remember that feeling of kind of coming back after winter break, and you have this clean slate and you're setting these second semester goals and your kids are rested and you're rested. And then you're like, oh man, the test is coming. So I know what that feels like. And we are just so happy to connect with you guys today and to support you. You guys have got boots on the ground. You're looking for ways to engage your students in meaningful and rigorous learning experiences, and we are just proud to support you guys. So, this is just an overview. I know you have all seen this. If you are giving STAAR 2.0 to your students, then you have seen this document showing the new question types. And what we want to do in this next just few minutes that we have left is just kind of go through the ways that Evelyn was able to achieve this through Quizizz. I'm going to show you a little bit more up close visual on that. Kyle, you want to go to the next slide for me? So, as good teachers and practitioners, like Evelyn mentioned, we can't help but want to provide the best test prep for students and build confidence so that any task that they're asked to do, they feel equipped and confident to complete. And like Evelyn mentioned, you've got the content is one prong, but the other prong is that critical thinking piece of how to manipulate a question and how to make sure students are getting enough practice with those types of questions so that they do feel confident. That's not a barrier to them showing their knowledge of the content and their mastery of what you've been tasked to teach for this year. So here is just kind of this is kind of an overview of the question types in Quizizz and what question types we're being told we're going to see in the new STAAR format and where those kind of fall, the ways you can manipulate these questions to fit the STAAR formatted questions. So let's go to the next slide. These are all of our question types. One of the things that I think Evelyn kind of hit on and that I found valuable within Quizizz when I was still in the classroom is that it is fully customizable. No experience or activity has to be the same. Like Kyle said, you can dial it up or you can dial it down. And so within the same platform, within the same sets of questions, you have so many uses. So from presenting a lesson on how to answer certain question types to a fun Friday activity that's competitive and you've got the leaderboard going that's fun and active and kids are, participating with all of their senses, to a really no frills kind of test prep. It's all possible within Quizizz, plus all of the possible accommodations that might be individualized to a student's needs. So, Evelyn shared a lot about how she's used Quizizz to support teachers in creating these rigorous learning opportunities that are fun and engaging for students. It doesn't have to be something that they're dreading. So let's go to the next slide, and we're going to actually look at some of these questions. So we know the new question types. We know that multiple choice, in the truest sense that we think of multiple choice, is going to be less than 75% of the new test. So these new question types like text entry, which is really kind of a fill in the blank, equation editor, graphing, number line, inline choice, which is this drop down you're seeing right here, the hotspot, hot text, fraction model, drag and drop, multi-part, multi-select, match table grid, short and extended response. That's a whole lot that's going to fill that other portion that's not multiple choice. So we're going to look at just kind of up close some of these things that are probably top of mind. These are the things we are hearing, Laura and Robin and I, when we talk to principals and teachers about what's coming. So the next screen is going to kind of show you whether you have an image that you're labeling. This is the drag and drop idea so that you can give students practice in not only the reading possibilities, but perhaps the science or social studies possibilities, even the math questions that might come with an image. Let's go to the next screen. This one is particularly useful, this hot text and hot spot. So we're seeing hot text pop up as a passage that perhaps, and you're going to maybe get a chance to do one of these in just a second, but we're seeing this hot text pop up in reading as select all the parts that show a simile, or in an image where it's choosing the parts that are correct. So this can also be used super effectively to create that match table grid question, where you can create a grid that has options that have hotspots to mimic that question. And let's go to the next screen. And then, of course, the math response and graphing. There's also a way to do number line with that hotspot question. So we want to know from you, I'm about to turn it back over to Kyle, but we want to know from you, what questions do you want to see in action? We're going to let you practice a couple of questions with us here and kind of see what that's like. So we'll go to the next slide and get an idea of what you guys have on your mind today as far as question types go.
Yeah, so on the next 6 slides or so, we have 6 sample questions. And again, we know time is tight, busy. So we're not going to necessarily have you do all 6 or 7, but if there's a certain question type in particular, and you're really curious, like how do you do it? Like, I want to see this from a student angle. I want to experience it. Is it user-friendly? Kind of all the questions you might have. Just pick your top one. And what we'll do is I'll make sure I go to 2 or 3 and give you a chance to really experience them. And then for those we don't get to, like I said, we'll be mailing you or emailing you all sorts of resources. So we'll give you other opportunities. But right here in the moment, it looks like hot text and graphing. Do we count hotspot in this? Maybe. Okay.
Maybe so.
So let's just do these 3 out of the, I think I have 6 of them here. And the other ones I'll skip over. All right, so check it out. This is hotspot. And you're going to see what I love about it is you can pick multiple options. So in front of you is just a simple kind of polygon, and it's just saying like, where are the right angles? So the hotspot is extremely easy. It could also be used, of course, in science for picking the certain parts of the cell, hit all the mitochondria. It could be used in geography of click all the states that are on the East Coast, that sort of thing, right? You can think of a million reasons why a student might need to pick a picture and identify different parts of it. All right, so I'm going to give you, I don't know, 3 more seconds here. Then I'm going to move on. Okay, now this is technically a hotspot question as well, but you can also use it for hot text. So what I did in this example right here, let's see, is this going to work here? Cool. What I did in this example here is I just took a passage, put some boxes around it, and said, like, what are the similes? Pick any that are similar here. I also, in case you're kind of on the same train, this is a total side tangent here. Sorry, April. I wrote the story using ChatGPT. I've been super into this whole, like, I don't know if everyone in the education world has been jumping on the AI train here, but I've been fully jumping on this kind of AI ChatGPT. So I was like, oh, write a story that includes a couple similes for my next training or something like that. Not bad for a robot. Anyway.
I have not tried it out, Kyle. That's a good pitch for it.
My 6-year-old kids, we were like, write a short story that involves robots chasing dinosaurs, but in the end, the robot's the winner. And it wrote a beautiful story. And it was like a new way for me to read stories to my kids that they can create. So again,
very cool.
If you all know Matt Miller on Twitter, he's a big one, but he's really been focusing a lot on how to use AI in the classroom. That's not what we're here for right now. We're here for hot text. So sorry about that. But as you can see, this is the way to do hot text. And so we have hotspot, we have hot text, and the other one I believe we all chose was the graphing one. So I'm going to skip over to the graphing one. And so the graphing one is brand new. Just came out, what, April last week?
Yes, I mean, hot off the presses, people.
Yeah, so there's all different options, and I'm still learning all of them. There's things where you can plot points, you can kind of create different graphs. And so if you have lots of questions about graphing, I'm not sure I know all the answers just yet, because like I said, it just came out, but it's still pretty amazing that we're making this move and doing this lines of symmetry and that sort of thing. So what I'll tell you here at Quizizz, if I can say this while you guys are all doing this, I said, I've only been here for 7 months. And I think one of my favorite parts about Quizizz is that we are not scared to just make a move on what we think is best for teachers and listening to them and saying, okay, they want graphing, we're going to make that as quickly as we can. Let's get it out to them. Let's make it awesome. And then we'll tweak it. And of course, we'll work out anything that, any bugs. But like, there is no hesitation to go out there and just do amazing things for teachers. So like, it is very fun having my job, which is spreading the love of Quizizz when there's so many easy things to spread the love about. Okay. And so those are the 3 that you voted on. So again, I want to stay true to and respect the things that you said. And so we'll just go to this one last piece here because I know we're already kind of over time and again, busy. So I'm going to ask you just kind of one thing here. If there's still something, because this is so short and how do we cover it all in 30 minutes? We would love you to just ask any questions at all here. Let me just hide this so you don't have to see it. But anything at all that you still want to know. So then when we follow up with you, we know exactly the main questions we should be answering that we didn't get a chance to get to, any resources. And then you'll also see there's a link there for all my Twitter people like myself. If you enjoyed something about today and you do feel like Quizizz aligns with STAAR, we'd love you to help us spread the word and tell your PLN. And so if you click on that link, the tweet's already written for you. You can change, of course, whatever you want, but if you're really finding something useful from here, we'd always love to help. And I feel like we're really on a mission to let these Texas teachers know exactly how we can support them and how we can help them. So the more we can all work together, that's just a wonderful thing. So I'll really give you all a little bit more time here because I do want you to ask good questions and give us the chance to really look over them and be sure we get to them. We had planned that maybe we'd have some time today to get to them, but just we're already over time, like I said. And we'll make sure that anything that we didn't cover today, we'll reach out to you really soon and take care of you. And then I believe, let's see, we just have, again, basically like 1 or 2 more questions that are just going to ask you, kind of give us some feedback. And then we'll say goodbye and we'll say thank you. And like I said, do our best to follow up with you and answer any questions you have. So let's say 10 more seconds. Kind of feel like I can't help the teacher mode, right? 10 more. Here we go.
Wait time.
I want to make sure people have a chance. All right, we're going to move on. I'm hitting that end button in 5, 4, 3, 2. End it.
Boom.
And like I said, we'll look at all those questions. All right. Now, in theory, right, after a half-hour workshop with us, all your stress is now gone and you feel completely fine. And what was busy, of course, now it might be like, well, shoot, now I'm even busier than ever because now I need to go ahead and start using Quizizz as soon as possible. So again, in an ideal world, of course, you're all feeling like let's do this, all good. But if not, we'll help you get there. We know this is a lot and we want to do everything we can to help you. All right, same thing. This one, I'll give you maybe 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. And
I think we have a few less in the busy. Maybe a few more in the I got this. So that's good.
I hope that's true, right? They're not just super nice people who are trying to make us feel like.
I know.
Everyone's just so nice here. All right, final question for real. And I'm going to hide the responses here. Don't worry, it'll be anonymous. But truly, we're really on a mission here. Let me just hide this here. We're really on a mission to do this thing right in a half hour. It's no easy task to really show you how the value of Quizizz with STAAR, but we are going to do everything we can to learn from you all, to do this better next time. So honestly, any feedback you give us, even something as simple as this, so we can kind of get a temperature check on like, how are we doing so far so we can keep on getting better. And we really, really want to make sure that, because we believe in this thing, it's not a matter of we don't think we support STAAR, right? It's just, how do you do it so well in a half hour with so much you could possibly talk about? So any feedback you can give would just be wonderful. So I'm going to end this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I know I should thank you all first, but I can't help it. I gotta thank Evelyn and April first. Evelyn and April, thank you again for being here, for sharing the love, and for, again, taking all this time. And now, of course, I will thank everyone who came here as well, giving up on your busy day. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you, guys.
listening to Quizizz and hearing about how we can support you all. And this is going to be recorded, so anything that we covered will be sent out to you along with some other resources. But please make sure you're following us on Twitter. We're always sharing the love about Quizizz and also STAAR testing, and keep on following along, and we'll do everything we can to support you all. But thank you so much for coming here on a Tuesday afternoon, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody.